So exciting to see so many longtime lifters in the audience matched with so many new faces. And for those of you who are new, I want to introduce myself. My name is Kirsten Lodel, and I have the great privilege of being Lyft's CEO and co-founder. And I hope that the video was able to give you a better sense of what it is that you're supporting here tonight. I know that there are many parents in the room, maybe some grandparents in the room, and a lot of young parents. As John referenced, I'm recently joined the club, bringing a beautiful baby girl into the world in December, and I have been so struck since that time by how much becoming a parent has shed completely new light on the meaning of Lyft's work. And I could go on and on about all the amazing parts of being a parent, including the unimaginable joy that it has brought me. But I think one of the things that we don't talk about that often is just how hard it is, and that in the first days and weeks and now months of being a parent, I would face moments of sheer desperation, of incredible self-doubt, a sense of being completely unprepared, this pulling at my core, representing a fear that I would never be able to do justice to all the parts of my life, and really this intense anxiety about what the future will be like for my child that I'm not sure ever goes away. And let's face it, I have everything going for me, and I have no illusions about that. I have an enormous support network. I have a loving and involved partner, financial security, stable housing, exceptional child care, and quality health care. And when I start to strip away 1, 2, 3, or all of those support systems that I just talked about, I'm not just teetering on the edge of keeping things together, which is how I feel right now. I am off that cliff. But now, I'm carrying another life with me, a life depending on me. And that feels like a lot of pressure. So when I think about Lyft's clients, a vast majority of whom are parents or full-time guardians, I have such newfound respect for what it is that they carry on their backs and in their hearts every day. And doing this work for me has just really taught me what it is that courage and resilience actually looks like. I've had 2 recent client interactions that really drove this home. Right after I came back from leave, I was in one of our local offices and happened to notice a very pregnant-looking young woman who was intently working on a job search with one of our volunteers. And I asked around and found out that she had come to us earlier in her pregnancy, having found herself homeless. And we helped her find housing, and we're now working on employment. And as she was leaving that Friday, I overheard her at the reception desk booking an appointment for the next week. And so I piped up and said, "When are you due? I have a newborn." And she said, "Next week." And I took a step back and thought, man, here is someone who has been dealt a tough hand. And whatever the circumstances of that pregnancy were, there's no doubt she has faced a lot of judgment and encountered a lot of closed doors. But there she was, courageously stepping up, saying, "I need help, this child needs help, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to create a different future for both of us." Just right around that time, I also had the chance to visit with an amazing client, Gary Farmer, who many people in the room know. And he is an extraordinary and committed single dad. And in our society, we don't give dads a lot of credit. But he's a great dad to an 8-year-old named Khalil. And Gary seemed to have everything put together a couple of years ago. He had worked a single job for 15 years in the airline industry. And what landed him on Lyft's doorstep was a very unfortunate on-the-job injury at the worst possible moment in the recession. And you know the rest of the story. And now 1.5 years later, after coming to the Lyft office every single week during that time, Gary has finally landed that coveted full-time job. But why is it that here's Gary, experienced, committed, wanting to work, full of drive, has to wait a year and a half to find that job, and yet he never gave up. And when I asked him what it was that caused him to persevere without skipping a beat, he said it was Khalil. And the fact that he knows that that little boy is watching his every move, and that he has to set an example, and that example is that success is possible, that it might take time, and it takes a lot of persistence, but it's possible. And that example is also that you have to have people in your corner in life. And for Gary, those people in his corner were the Lyft volunteers, like those that you saw in the video. You know, there are countless stories like this that come out of Lyft offices every day, stories of people having to make unimaginable choices, stories of people dealing with heartbreaking loss but figuring out a way to move forward. And so in the face of that, I am so struck by how hopelessly misguided our prevailing societal images are of the kinds of people that need Lyft services. And so tonight, I hope that you will go home with images of the beautiful Faye Mason and the pregnant mom-to-be and Gary and Khalil in your minds. Because what Lyft's clients teach us is the fundamental truth that we all possess a deep drive and aspiration to succeed, regardless of race, regardless of class, regardless of the zip code of our birth. And each of our journeys is unique, of course, with twists and turns along the way, but the bottom line is that we can't do it alone. And I know now more than ever, and boy has becoming a mom proved this to me, that I can't do it alone, and I'm sure all of you would agree with that. So tonight, with your help, and John will talk some more about what we need to get over the fundraising hump, but if we get there, we can guarantee that at least an additional 1,000 of your fellow New Yorkers right here and their families will benefit from Lyft services in the year ahead. We also, thanks to your help and your generosity, are going to be able to start responding to the somewhat endless calls that we've been getting to expand our services in the city. And we're going to be opening up a new community center in the Bronx that will literally overnight quadruple our capacity to be helping people. So by being here, you are making a huge impact. And it was no small feat to get you all here, so I have a whole lot of thanks that I'd like to get out. But first, while John was really very kind in singling me out in his comments, I want to acknowledge the people in this room who actually make Lyft work day to day, and that is the volunteers and clients and staff members and board members who are in the room. Will you raise your hands? I don't know if we can get the lights up so people can see them, but anyways, raise your hands all. I want to, here we go. Yay! We have volunteers here from our Bronx office, our tireless AmeriCorps site coordinators. I see them up here. We have some of our clients are here. I want to point out, and again, it's tough. I don't know if we can get the lights up, but our fabulous New York program director, Betty Gilmore. Are you able to raise your hand? I know there are tall people all over. But there's Betty back there. Everyone should know Betty. She's extraordinary. Talk to Betty, set up a site visit of that new center, come and get involved. I want to also acknowledge some of the other national staff members are here. We've got executive directors from other regions like DC and Philly who are here supporting their New York brothers and sisters. We have our chief operating officer. He's a tall head in the back. You can meet him, see him, Tony Brunswick, who really is the person who makes Lyft work every day. And I also want to acknowledge the indefatigable Alex Brown, who really organized all of tonight's event. So there's Alex. All right. So on to the folks that allowed, I think, a whopping 300 of you to be here tonight. We had the most extraordinary chairs this year. Our honorary chairs, Peggy and Marn Obernower, who are just Lyft's triedest and truest supporters. So thank you, Marn and Peggy. And then the three couples that did just incredible heavy lifting on the fundraising coordination, John and Rachel Roden. John, you met earlier, Elizabeth Milbank and Mike Sobel, and their beautiful daughter, Sophie, who's here sporting her Lift onesie. So, and then this year, we're so proud for the first time to bring on board Paul and Sarah Sohn, who have been amazing. So thank you guys so very much. We also have a host committee. You can see their name tags. I would ask to throw your hands up, but I realize no one can see it. But please, say thank you to our host committee members. Thank you all very much for doing this. And tonight is a lot about raising support, financial support, to make this work possible. So I want to thank some of our most generous supporters tonight, who include all of our co-chair couples. Thank you so much. And remarkably, also all of their companies. And I want to give a special shout to John and the great folks at Glenview Capital, including their leader, Larry Robbins, and Mark Horowitz and his wife, Jen Cohn. I want to thank Paul and all the folks from Kingdon who are here and all the support that Kingdon has given us. Thank you all so, so much. I want to thank my co-founder, Brian Kreider, and his wife, Allie, for their support, as well as the Nucor Corporation and Pat McFadden, Nina and Chris McIntyre, Mark Lawrence and the Modestus Bauer Foundation, Ronnie and Kelly Mateo, Alice Goldman and Ben Ryder, Joanne Whitty and Jean Kalin, and Suzanne and Charles Marinoff. And last but not least, some of the extraordinarily generous and anonymous donors. You know who you are. We are so grateful. Thank you very much for being here. I'm going to bring John back up to close things out, but it really is an honor to be with you, so thanks for your support.